individual. Like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I?
You know that soulfully communicating both internally and externally is key to soul purpose alignment. Welcome to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. I'm your host, doc.PEACE, Doctor of Pharmacy and Soulful Communication Coach. Golden Sessions is a time to connect and celebrate creative expression. Each episode here features a creative in the music, spoken word, or NFT communities and other creative spaces who are walking in their soul purpose and sharing doses of inspiration to empower confidence and to foster global unity. Today, we have an incredible guest with us here. Her name is Julia Wheatley. Julia is a fine artist and full-time fashion model living in Paris and exploring the exciting new world of NFTs, non-fungible tokens. She studied industrial design, worked on motorcycles, moved to New York City to pursue modeling full-time, and then began her journey back into fine art, where she then stumbled upon NFTs. Thank you so much for joining us today, Julia.
Thank you so much for having me, Doc. Really excited to be here.
You're so very welcome. What an incredible story that you have. You state, Julia, that you are a kaleidoscope of ideas, that every year has taught you a different trade, and each is deeply rooted in a need to create, to artfully exist, and to enthusiastically explore. And I'm reading this quote from you, and it's just so beautiful. Can you share with us more on this and this need to create and how this drive came about?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love that. That quote comes from my about page in my bio. When I was writing it, when you have a website, you have to, explain to people, who are you? What are you doing? Where are you? Why are you there? And I realized that the basis for most of my creativity comes from curiosity, and allowing that curiosity to lead me to exciting new endeavors, exciting new discoveries, and using that as a catalyst for creativity instead of an inhibitor of it. And I think ideas of lining up these different layers, these different experiences to all be a positive influence and a unique perspective versus trying to force myself to focus on one in particular is actually a huge benefit in the grand spectrum of my life.
Wow, wow. So of all the in different arenas that you found yourself in, that you've been exploring, is there one that continuously calls you back?
Hmm. I think yes, absolutely. That would be painting and sketching. Working with my hands has always been something that I've felt drawn to. It's come about in many different ways. Different times of my life have brought me different versions of that, from studying industrial design, learning how to build things, how to produce things, moving into motorcycle mechanics, the tinkering, the thought behind how you build something. And then it always comes back to painting and or sketching for me, because I think those are how I learned to work with my hands. It's how I learned originally to express myself. And for some reason, that is deeply rooted in my system of creative expression, to just be able to move through my mind, through my body, and out through the utensils that my hands provide.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like you're you're so drawn to movement through expression. Can you take us back to a moment way back that you first realized this attraction?
That's, oh gosh, okay. Well, I think it's important to note I am the youngest of three. My parents were always really encouraging of all of us kids in the different creative forms. My sister is an incredible, beautiful dancer. My brother, a great athlete, and I am a complete spaz and very uncoordinated. So I think when it was kind of going down the line in my childhood of, like, different types of expressions that kids are allowed and the different ways that you learn to move your body, um, the artful dance of things was never a part of that movement, and I learned how to then express myself through the movement of well, a lot of sports definitely, and then also a lot of painting and sketching as well, because it was a way to just kind of do that explosion, be free, express yourself without needing to be in a classroom or be somewhere with a lot of structure behind it. So I think, yeah, there's not particularly one memory that I remember, oh, I want to be an artist. But it definitely has started before my memories even, click in, of painting and having so many different art projects on my fridge growing up, and just always remembering that those were encouraged and those were supported in my household, thankfully.
Okay, so it sounds like you grew up with an encouraging environment, one that fostered expression,
Yes.
creative expression specifically. What a
Yeah,
blessing.
definitely. I know, it's not always the case. And especially when I was in high school, I was a really strong athlete. I was a really strong hurdler. And I was trying to decide whether I wanted to run D1 hurdles, or if I wanted to go to art school. And thankfully, both were, in my parents' eyes, they were of equal importance, and it was up to me to make that decision. And I think, first of all, my knees thank me for making the art decision. My body would have been wrecked. But also, I think in my head, I knew that what made me happiest was to learn how to create, and wanting to go to design school to learn how to make that a part of my future career and future, adult life in the world of creativity. And so I was really encouraged through that, thankfully, because I had some very talented friends who were not given that opportunity.
Wow. So you chose art. You continuously chose art time and time again.
Mhm.
What would you say to someone who has this type of opportunity and is feeling this calling towards creative expression, but is being held back for whatever reason? Like, how do you continuously follow that calling? I'm
I
curious.
think I think the older you get, the more and more people you meet, you come to realize there are so many different jobs that exist in the world that you've never heard of. Like, I have a friend of mine who's a food stylist on set. Like, I didn't know that was a job, but it is, and she's
A food
beautifully filled
stylist.
by it. Food stylist for magazines. You think of all these huge, marketing outputs for photo shoots. And that's just one fun niche. I also have a friend who was a fibers artist and knit and now works for NASA, hand knitting fibers for the interiors of spaceships. Like, there are so many random, exciting, and delightfully niche opportunities in life. And as long as you're the one who is lining up your own experience and your own whatever you're excited about, you will find an opportunity to apply it.
Wow. Okay. So whatever you're excited about, you will find that opportunity to apply it. All you have to do is express that creative expression.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So would you say that sometimes we might need to actually create that opportunity, or will we finally just stumble upon that opportunity, similar to how you stumbled upon NFTs, which we're going to be dialing into in a minute?
I was about to say, yeah. I think it's a lot of both. I think if you for people who know that they're creatively motivated, know that they want to pursue a creative career, but are unsure about the real world applications of what that looks like. In that context, the following through of what you are excited about, the opportunities will present themselves either through the people that you meet, the people you surround yourself with who are also intrinsically creatively motivated, to bring you those opportunities or to link you in, to bring you into conversations of opportunity. And I think that comes about being genuine with what it is that you want, sitting with yourself and understanding, okay, why am I motivated to do X, Y, and Z? What do I hope to get out of it? And what is the motivation? What is the driving force that causes me to feel one way or the other? And when you do that and you sit with yourself and you're like, okay, I'm motivated in X, Y, and Z, the opportunities may present themselves, but they also may present themselves in people you meet. They may present yourselves in ideas that you've heard. They may present themselves in really new and scary opportunities like trading art with cryptocurrency, and will require you to start doing a ton of research and dive in headfirst into something that scares you, and yet somehow deep down, hopefully you'll continue to feel motivated and know that that's where you're supposed to be.
Yes, snaps for that. So you mentioned that this creative expression may guide you down the path of exchanging art for cryptocurrency. So this kind of leads us to the meat of today's conversation. And that is, what are some of your art projects that you're currently working on?
Awesome. So I am a fine artist by trade, which means that I'm traditionally driven. So I do art in real life. That includes painting, and it also includes a project that I've been working on for the last almost 4 years, which is I have a little Pantone postcard, and I've been taking it from a stack of 100. I do a little drawing on it, and I've been using that as a way of continuing to be creative and express my ability to draw and to maintain those skill sets in real life. And recently, I have discovered the world of NFTs, which has ignited in me a creative spark that I haven't felt in years, which is this really exciting opportunity to create these artworks in a digital format that then can be represented on the blockchain and distributed and celebrated and build a whole new community of digital artists and collectors who are excited about non-fungible tokens.
Non-fungible tokens. Yeah. So you are turning your art, you're taking your background in industrial art and fine art to create these images, these graphics that you are now putting onto in the NFT space. You're coding them into blockchain, and now they're available for sale on this platform. Can you explain to someone what this even means? Like,
Yes.
What is it? What's going on here?
The first thing I would like to say is that it sounds very, very technical and very overwhelming, especially from somebody who is not from a crypto background like myself. I am from the art world. I am not from the technology. I don't know how to code myself. I don't know how to I just learned how to even buy cryptocurrency. It's a whole new process, but the onboarding can be intimidating, but I promise is not as hard as it sounds. So I think it's a good place to start there, that if you're hearing this and you're just like, that is so over my head, that is not what I want to get into, just wait, because you can and you should. Basically, the kind of, I guess, overarching theme of what is exciting about the NFT community is that, first of all, it's brand new, which means it's small, which means that it's a bunch of people who are genuinely excited about what's happening and really, really encouraging and really fostering of artwork, of shared expression, of shared ideas, and with that shared education of how to even begin and get started on this. So it's pretty much all happening through Twitter. That's like that is where NFT knowledge is completely shared because of the ability to communicate with spaces. I jumped into spaces and began kind of onboarding what the process would be to start the NFT journey. And then as an artist, it's essentially taking your artwork and minting it onto a platform. You can do that yourself with a smart contract, or you can do that on a open source platform like OpenSea, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, NFT shared platforms at the moment. And to do that, you have to own a little bit of cryptocurrency in whatever cryptocurrency that platform accepts. So for OpenSea, that would be Ethereum. It's Ether is the cryptocurrency, and it exists on the Ethereum blockchain. So you go to OpenSea, you have your account as an artist. I want to upload my artwork onto the platform, same as you want to upload to Facebook or to Instagram. You want to, put it up there. The difference is to upload it onto the blockchain, to be able to code it as the original artist and to take up space and have it be documented. You have to pay a small amount of gas fee, which is, a small percentage of the cryptocurrency you're using to be able to then process it and put your little pin in the blockchain, say like, yep, here I am. Okay. Here's my artwork.
And so it's that simple.
It is that's from the starting for OpenSea and for the beginner's guide to NFTs. It is that simple. It gets way more complicated if you want to do it yourself, if you want to use different platforms. But the basis of it and the whole exciting thing about NFT space right now is it's giving power back to artists and back to creators, because not only are you able to list your work without needing a gallery, without needing a middleman, every time that your artwork sells to somebody else on the secondary market, you get a small percentage of royalties every single time.
Yeah.
Indefinitely.
So I love what you just said. It's giving power back to the creatives. We're going to be diving into this more when we come back. We're going to have to take a quick break. You're listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM with our incredible guest, Julia Wheatley. Sorry, I had a little bit of a blank there, Julia Wheatley. We are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. So stay tuned.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections drowned me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it.
And we're back. You're listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. I'm doc.PEACE, and we're here with our incredible guest, Julia Wheatley. Let's get back into it. So today is all about NFT art and really dialing in on how to express yourself in this space. And so, Julia, we are talking about how the steps that someone new could take in this space to put their art on the blockchain and to begin diving into this experience, because it is an experience, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Brilliant.
what would be the first step that someone new could take who is a creative, who is an artist, but not quite yet in this NFT space, which is a fairly new space? It's growing.
Absolutely. That's an excellent question. I say there's a couple of first things. From a curiosity side, the first thing you should do is get on Twitter, which I just recently did, because the information about NFTs are really happening and being distributed through Twitter, because there's no wiki how on how to start yet. I mean, there hopefully will be. But as I mentioned, it's a really small community at the moment. So everyone who's sharing information and educating is on Twitter. Just go look up NFT spaces as well. There's so many resources and so many people talking about it, but it's in a very niche community. Mm-hmm. Jump in spaces, listen to people who are on this side of the world as far as the NFT space goes, collectors and artists alike. And that's really the best way to start learning about the community, which is one thing I absolutely love about NFTs is the community behind it is so encouraging. At this stage, it's incredibly wholesome. Everyone is genuinely thrilled and excited to be trying something new. And we're all learning at the same pace. You know, most of the experts in this field have only been involved for a year or maybe even less, you know, since maybe the 2017, 2018. But most of the artists are really only a couple of, 1 year, a couple of months in. So that makes it really accessible to people to jump in and ask those questions and not feel like the barrier of entry as far as, who to talk to is quite high. The other side of things from a technical standpoint would be to set up your first cryptocurrency, crypto wallet. I would encourage you to get a Coinbase, which is how you transfer USD or whatever currency you're using into crypto. Through Twitter Spaces and through your own research, you can decide what platforms suit you best. I'm saying right now that the largest is OpenSea, which takes Ether. So I would, buy a little bit of Ether, start playing around with what that looks like, what OpenSea, and just kind of start looking at the art and get excited about what's happening here.
Love it. So basically the first step really is to start doing your research and to start connecting.
Yes, exactly.
Connecting on Twitter, because that's actually how you and I connected.
That is.
And I love what you said about how it's such a new space and everyone in it is looking to teach others. Mm-hmm. So you, for example, have been in this space for what, a few months?
Barely, maybe 6-8 weeks.
And now you're teaching and sharing and guiding others on how to get into this space. That's incredible. And I'm right there with you. And this is a new space for me as well. but it's something that we're so passionate about, and that we see the vision, and the vision is creative expression, and really getting your value out there, your creative art out there, and then getting that reciprocity and respect, and that being known and respected for the art that you're putting out. And I feel like that has been something that's been lacking in a lot of communities. And the NFT space provides that. So
couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely.
so I would love for you to share your specific art and how you are putting your creative expressions into this space. Like what is this art that you are putting out?
Great. So thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
The first of my NFTs, hopefully many, many more to come, is
Yes.
going to be a collection of 100 postcards that are all hand-drawn from my original hand-tone postcard series. So to give you a bit of backstory, in 2018, I had just graduated from college. I had an industrial design degree, loved it, was working as a mechanical apprentice in a vintage moto shop, loved that. And then I got the opportunity to start modeling full-time in New York City, which is completely different than anything I had set my mind to, thought my path was going to take. But again, going back to, the exciting opportunities of curiosity and allowing your imagination to run wild, I said, okay, great, I'll give this a go. I started working in fashion and absolutely loved it. It's a weird world, it's a weird job, but it is so incredibly fun. It provides me so many random opportunities I would never have ever experienced in my life. And I was really creatively fulfilled by it. With that being said, I was also terrified of losing my identity as an artist. I had placed a lot of the consistency in my life of being a creative person. And I was worried that if I pursued a different career than one outside of the one I had studied or the normal creative path, I would no longer be considered an artist. So I was in the Cooper Hewitt Museum. I love a good gift shop. And the Pantone postcards were in there. And I was like, okay, this is something that I'm going to take every day, a little colorful pack of joy, and just do a small, tiny little doodle, nothing crazy, nothing exuberant, to allow myself to stay creative and have a daily practice so I can still call myself, again, imposter syndrome, an artist. And so I started doing that. And, as time went on and my career changed and shifted, I found myself moving across the world to different places, different time zones. And in February 2020, I found myself in Germany. I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks. A global pandemic hit. I was there for 5 months without friends or family. It was definitely not what I expected. My partner and my fiance at the time, we was in South America, so we had quite the time difference. I was not feeling so golden, and I was really, kind of struggling with what does my life look like? What am I going to be doing moving forward? I think as a lot of us were, and it came back to what can I do to allow myself to grow, even in a space where I don't know where I'm going to be growing. And that came back to art, and that came back to sketching and creating. It was one constant, the only consistent thing in my life, the only thing I could count on was my ability to create. And even if there were days I didn't want to get out of bed, there were days that were really, really hard for me to emotionally feel like I was creative. Just the practice of getting up and sitting in front of either, a blank notebook or an empty, colorful little postcard allowed me to still place my identity in something that I knew and that I felt familiar with. And then as things got better, things opened up. There's a lot more pinballs back through there that kind of bounced me all around. But in the end, these little postcards were the one thing that were keeping me sane, that were keeping me tied to my artistic identity. And they provided me with a great deal of joy with the colors and knowing that I can always come back to this and this is who I am.
Wow.
And that in-person project then led into NFTs, and I'm still working on I'm not done with the 100, it's still an ongoing process. So when I learned about NFTs, I was so excited and so inspired. like I said, for the first time, actually get up in the morning, like excited to create, not like you must create, Julia, to stay okay. There's a lot more motivation because for the first time I'm making art and I have an intended purpose for it that's outside of my own existence. And I think that's really exciting for a lot of artists.
Wow. What a beautiful story. And what is that purpose?
So the purpose is to share art in a more organic way, to not only have art that I'm creating exist for me and for my own eyes, but to be able to share my creations. So the project I'm working on for my first NFT launch is called the Fantone Project, which of course is the play on the words post from the postcards. But it also is, really rooted in the idea that I didn't want to become a ghost of my former creative self. And NFT space is a way to let artists share their work in a really exciting and really organic and genuine way that hasn't really existed in the world for small artists until now.
Beautiful. I love what you just said about how creative expression has become a daily practice.
Mm.
And it's something that excites you, that lights you up, that it ignites the light within you. And I think that's such a beautiful way to put that. It's a daily practice.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of creatives who are listening can really relate to that. And if you are not yet creatively expressing, consider integrating creative expression into your daily practice, into your daily routine to begin to ignite that light within.
Absolutely. And I think a huge aspect of that as well is not to put too much pressure on yourself to, complete a masterpiece every day. I think the important thing for me, especially during my tougher days where I'm not trying to make the best drawing I've ever done, I'm not trying to make this the most accurate painting I've ever had. I am just trying to be consistent. And that consistent art practice builds and layers, and suddenly you're doing it for days on end, and you're building something inevitably.
Beautiful, beautiful. Whew, you provided us with so many golden nuggets. It's absolutely incredible. I really appreciate you for being here. How can we connect with you further?
Great. Thank you so much for having me again on the show. It's been really exciting to be in this space, to be encouraged in this space, and then to be asked to do this has been amazing.
You're
Um,
so welcome.
I am on Twitter now. If you're interested in the NFT side of things, NFTs are on Twitter. I think the really exciting nuggets of joy are on my TikTok, which is where I do all of my process videos for my art. So you'll see all of my Pantone postcards. I think I'm on day I've started over. So I've been doing this for 3 years, but I started the project over in March on day one. So I have probably hundreds at this point, but I'm doing a whole new 100 right now. So I'm on day I think 37, 38. So you can follow all of that on TikTok, and then Instagram is where I share a little bit more about my hobbies, activities, and my modeling work.
Beautiful, wonderful. And what's the handle for each
So
of those platforms?
I'm Treat on everyone. So my last name's Wheatley, Wheat. So the handle is WHEATATREAT.
We a treat.
Weed a treat.
We a treat. Beautiful. You have been such a treat.
Thank you.
And I do believe that you are indeed gold. You are a genuine, original, loving dreamer. And I appreciate you for shining your light here with us today.
Thank you so much, Doc, for the time, for the space, and for being interested in NFTs.
You're so very welcome. Let's go. Let's keep shining. The biggest takeaway that I hope you got from today's session is to get on Twitter.
Okay, there you
Get on
go.
Twitter. Get connected with Wheatley, Julia Wheatley, and myself, doc.PEACE, on Twitter. So we hope to connect with you soon. You're listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. That concludes today's session with our incredible guest, Miss Julia Wheatley. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you got that dose of inspiration that you were welcoming. As always, reminding you that your creativity and your expertise equals your soul purpose. And it is you who ultimately chooses to soulfully express and be gold, a genuine, original, loving dreamer. I'm doc.PEACE. Shine on.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive.